Oh, you guys, it's week 8.
Week 8, Ocho.
That's not how I was expecting you to react to that.
Wee. That's in French. Wee.
Oh, thank you for clarifying. Yeah, we only have 2 more after this.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The summer.
And I'm going to already say that your last movie, I don't even know what it is.
You
For
don't.
episode 10, I'm already going to give you the percentage is 55%.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
That's a bold and very accurate guess.
55%.
I think you're spot on.
Although the movie has moments of clarity, it comes across a little confusing at times, and for that, I will drop my score because it left me wanting more. 55%.
Wow, cool. All right, good. Well, that's out of the way.
Yep.
So, do we have just one more week then? Or we
Yeah, I
just
think
skip
we
that
only
last
have,
one?
I think we only have one more week now. Unless you have a score you want to jump to.
I think mine for you for next week is going to be just out of the stratosphere.
Oh, like it's going to be really high?
Could be.
No way. You
Or-
never rate my movies high.
Or really low.
Yeah. I have a feeling you're going to rank it really low. You're going to be like, this is preposterous. This is stupid.
I can't wait. But enough about that. Let's talk about now.
Let's talk about the now.
Let's talk about now. Welcome, listeners. We are cruising through August right now, winding down summer, but yet not really. We're still cranking it up. I immediately regret
Crank
that.
it up. Yeah, and I have a feeling this year more than any years past that we might drop some episodes throughout the year more frequently.
You think so?
I just have this feeling. I already have ideas about Halloween, and I think it's a multiple episode celebration of Halloween, which is
Okay.
quickly becoming maybe my favorite holiday.
Oh my gosh, can you just give the listeners a little what does your Instagram feed look like right now?
Okay. So you know how you can go down once you've caught up on your Instagram posts and it gives you recommended posts after
Sure.
that? Or it says you can click to see older posts, which I never do.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the recommended posts, you'll usually see one post about wrestling, and then you'll maybe have a friend suggestion or something like that. But then what I get a ton of, and I showed Rach, I had 4 in a row one day. Sometimes it'll be nerdy stuff about Lord of the Rings or weird lawn gnome things. But what I've been getting lately, Halloween Instagram posts or fall lovers. And so one of them is Halloween addiction. And one of them is can't wait for fall. And there'll be things where it'll say only 167 more days till October. That came up in the beginning of the summer and I was like, yeah, we're almost there.
I didn't know you were such a fall fanatic.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, yes I did.
Yeah, you did.
But
It's
maybe
my favorite time of year.
specifically Halloween though. That's sticking out in the fall as a
Yeah.
surprise for me.
I've never had it where when I see pictures of leaves changing or pumpkins and stuff and gourds that it releases endorphins it does now. Now I truly get a release of
Sure.
adrenaline rush of happiness.
Yeah, you're hooked. You're hooked, man.
Wait, well, what comes up with you when you have that?
Oh, I don't know,
Instagram.
baked potato recipes
Oh,
or
stupid.
cute living room designs.
Yeah, right. I know what it really is. It's a ton of dog videos. Don't even lie to me.
Yeah, dog and baby videos. Mostly dogs.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
That's true. Yeah, my reel or TikTok suggestions are always about the pups. That comes up first. So
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it. Why would I be mad about it? Oh, all right. Well, I have quite the doozy for us to get through today. So I just want everyone to buckle up.
Buckle
Ty,
up.
I'm going to do my best to throw it to you. But please, in your charming self, please interrupt me.
Oh,
maybe mid-thought. You know how I love mid-thought interruptions. I handle that really well. But
Yeah.
But for sure, seriously though, I do need you to just jump in and give me some feedback on some thoughts here because we got a lot of details to get through.
Well, trust me, I have no problem jumping in and making my voice heard. As a straight white male, I believe that I've had that drilled into me that has to be celebrated.
Yeah, for sure.
So I will do that.
Very good, very good. All right, Ty. What movie did we watch for week 8 of Summers Off?
We watched Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest once.
Once I did flow
Yeah.
over a cuckoo's
Yeah.
nest. 1975.
Okay, 5 years after Halloween 1.
What?
The
Oh,
first
yeah?
Halloween movie.
Really?
Yep.
Gosh.
Came out in 1970.
Okay. That kind of helps a little bit.
I think, what movie did we watch another 70s movie? Yeah, we watched Godfather. Godfather was in 72, and Godfather 2 was in either 74 or 75. Might have been right around this time.
What a time
Might have been
for
right
film.
around.
All right, Mushmouth.
No, get it together, Hudson.
What an exciting time for cinema is what I'll say.
The 70s, so great.
I mean, honestly, like these are those are all like really
it was
good
a decent
movies,
time for cinema.
For sure.
And I'll be honest, in the 80s, we love to make fun of it, but all those fun teen movies and stuff, like, kind of a good time.
Yeah. I think we needed it.
We needed it.
After maybe
break.
the hard-hitting seriousness of the 70s movies, it's like, how about some light fluff?
Yep.
Everyone wants some Oreo fluff on the plate?
Absolutely.
So, Ty, give us a synopsis of this classic.
Okay.
Classic drama.
So, Jack Nicholson is... my immediate reaction to say he's an EBD boy, emotional behavior disorder boy, but I don't know if that's necessarily a classification. But
he definitely has some antisocial, some behavior pieces. He's a bit of a pot stirrer.
Yep.
Gets into fights a lot.
Yep. He, as he likes to say, he likes to fight an F, and so he has been in jail, and they think he might be crazy.
Yeah.
And so they send him over to this, or we can call it mental institution.
We can call it mental institution, psych ward, both of those.
Yeah, whatever. I know the term appropriate for that time period as well.
Yeah, that works for me. Yeah, let's call it psych ward.
Sweet. So he gets sent over to this psych ward because they think he might be crazy. And even the doctors, when they send him over, they're like, I don't know if you are crazy, but we're going to kind of just test it out. So while he's over there, he's kind of just observing how everything works and kind of trying to stir up shit like he usually does. And then he kind of like meets all these friends along the way. It's kind of a story about how a dude makes a bunch of friends. And they all have just different circumstances than those usual movies. And everybody at the psych ward has like little adventures that they go on. And then we can get into this a little bit later. We don't have to spoil the end of the movie yet, but you should watch it if you haven't seen it because we're going to talk about it. But the movie takes a turn.
Yeah,
it's stark.
I mean, it kind of like fools you a little bit. Like I think you go into it. Well, one, you think it's a drama no matter what going into it.
Yes, for sure.
And then I think initially watching it again for me, I was surprised at how funny it was.
Yeah.
And then again, I was also surprised, like, oh yeah, that's right. We have a lot of like heavy topics that we're gonna get to. So or heavy material.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I love about it. It's just a really, I love movies that are good balances. They're more than one thing. A couple of colors.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So a tagline, a fun tagline, the only tagline that I could find for this movie.
Oh, okay.
If he's crazy, what does that make you?
Ooh. What does that make you? Now, granted, I'm not as crazy as Jack Nicholson, so something to consider.
Nobody is. Gosh, watching him, like, we'll get into, I have a whole, like, Jack Nicholson section,
yes,
but, like,
please.
I just, like, he's an actor, like, you see the wheels turning in his head, and you're like, he's just, I don't know, he's so intelligent and so, like, on the edge. There's something about him.
Yeah, and that's what makes him enthralling to watch.
Yes.
Because he is impulse-driven, you can tell as an actor. And that he is, we were just talking about different types of actors. He's very sensorial. He's very much like his senses dictate what choices he makes. And to watch, the wheels turn is almost as fun as when he makes the choice. Yeah, he's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, and we'll get...
I'm going to say the word fascinating probably a lot in this podcast, just to preempt. If you want to do a counter, I think that was 3 once I said the word again to explain myself. So.
Pour a little bevy, and we'll have a little fun, a little drinking game today.
Fantastic.
Right. So the first time that I watched this movie, I'm now second guessing after watching it again because it kind of seems a bit more mature. But I had initially thought that I saw this in high school in my psych class.
I wonder if you maybe just saw clips.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
but I have seen the whole thing.
Yeah, because there's stuff in this movie that you wouldn't have been able to watch in psych class.
Yeah.
Like there's some profanity and there is there's like some little bits
there's
of
a lot
nudity.
of mature stuff. What I'll say is I did watch Clockwork Orange in my psych class. So
and you saw like the
okay, so funny story about the scene, right?
The rape scene.
Yeah. Yep. I say funny story about the rape scene. Gosh, what a terrible sentence that is.
Okay. It's okay. We all know what you mean.
But yeah, that whole thing. I don't know why we as teachers are sometimes just terrible when it comes to pushing fast
Oh
forward
my gosh.
or like getting through a scene. But
Yeah.
oh, my poor psych teacher, like she went up to like fast forward it, and this was a VHS,
Yep.
and it's just like a little like big box TV rolled in on a cart in front of the classroom. So she's got like a little control over it. It gets close to that scene. She goes up there to push the fast forward button. Of course, like it pauses like right on that. It's not really registering like what she wants it to do, so it just freezes, and we just see a pair of chi-chis like right there in the screen.
Oh my
Of course, we're all like wide-eyed, like high schoolers, like, oh no.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, she's like, oh no, can't. Okay, close your eyes.
Now, you say that, but I had a teacher for ninth grade English class who, when we watched Romeo and Juliet, the 70s one,
Yes.
she put her hand perfectly on the TV to cover that gal's chi-chis the entire scene,
Wow.
the wedding scene.
She practiced that.
She totally
practiced
did.
that.
And so imagine us, we're all like ninth graders, we're like, whoa, she's going to be naked. We're like, put your hand on the way, Mrs. Taylor.
What's funny is I have another memory of that same thing happening to the ninth grade English teacher when we watched it.
So when you watch Romeo and Juliet?
Yeah, I remember again, like she was maybe fast. This was like a mid fast forward. She was going to get through it. But she guessed like, yeah, that we're probably through it. And then we weren't through it. So a different set of circumstances. But like always when there's boobs involved in
Yep,
TV, you're like, oh, you
absolutely.
just can't avoid it. So yeah, that's why I can't think it. Maybe it was then. Maybe I'll throw out another option. It might have been an undergrad during either like a psych club. We might have watched it, or I don't think during a college class we would have done like 2 hours of watching this film. Like, I think as a student I would have been a little bit like, could we have like assigned this so I don't have to pay like to watch this? What am I paying per hour right now?
But I watched.
Clips would be great, but not the whole movie.
I watched in one class. I watched the whole Merchant of Venice movie.
Yeah, you're acting classes.
No. That was not an acting class.
What?
That was IDEA, which is stupid.
IDEA.
Okay, USD had this
What does
IDEA
IDEA
class,
stand
and it
for?
was a way when you're junior and you're senior, you do your capstone. It's a way to bring people across all of arts and sciences, or whatever your field was, like your overall field. You'd all come together. Fine arts wasn't its own field. It was like a bigger thing. You'd all come together to take this one class in these different IDEA sections. Mine was actually taught by a theater guy, but he wasn't a professor for us. He was a professor in another school. He was adjunct there. And he taught this idea class, and he showed all of Merchant of Venice. Like for 3 days, we watched Merchant of Venice.
Gotcha.
In another class in Irish history, we watched all of the movie Bloody Sunday. It was cool, though.
and you felt good about
Merchant
it.
of Venice, I thought was a little weak because I wasn't really a big fan. But Bloody Sunday was awesome.
Gotcha.
Strong recommendation. Watch that movie if you're into Irish history. It's cool.
And we are.
Yeah, we know we all are.
So this movie comes from a book.
Okay.
I think
Figured.
maybe we knew that, maybe we didn't.
Yeah, and there's a play version of this as well.
Yes, that came out right after the book. So the book came out in 1962. Play was like 1963, 1964.
Oh, okay.
The movie doesn't get made for 10 more years.
So, interesting story about the play.
Yeah.
My senior year, all of my roommates and I, we who were actors, we all were talking about doing like little side projects. We were like, hey, let's each like pick a project that's like our star vehicle or like something we always wanted to do and help the other buddies like do their projects. And I don't remember what mine was. It probably was Shape of Things by Neil LaBute.
Yeah.
But he picked Adam Hansen. He picked One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh.
And he was like casting us all. I don't remember what he cast me as, but he was like, I think we should do this. He really wanted to play the Jack Nicholson role. We never did because we ran out of time because you always dream big at the beginning of the year and you run out of time. But we were like considering doing this show.
Wow. And that would have been like something you would have done in like front of like students?
Yeah, it
And,
would
like,
have been
kind of
for
like
just
a,
the department.
Like a student-run production piece?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think in college especially that would be a great time to do this piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There, as I was reading some things, like a couple of articles came up about how I think there was like a high school in, I think it was a high school in Alaska that was going to do it, and then they decided not to do it because of the content and because they said it's misogynist, racist, It's
Sure.
like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And then
Yeah.
maybe high schools, maybe it's better to study it in high school and talk about it versus I don't know that high schoolers have a lot of life history to pull from to play these characters. You know what I mean?
Sure,
You're not ready. I don't think
absolutely.
you're ready yet.
Yep. Yep. And then you get into, because I was talking about, there's a show called Boys Next Door, which is also dealing with people more with mental needs than it is with, or intellectual disabilities than it is with people in an insane asylum. But I think that those kinds of shows have real challenges now.
Yes.
Because people are always like, well, it comes down to that whole, is this our story to tell type of thing? Because you could have people who have are similar outlook on life that could play characters like that. So you get into those conversations. It makes it tricky. Makes it hard.
It is. It's kind of, I think these stories, while important, are kind of in a hard spot right now as far as how do we do it, and how do we do it in like a sensitive way and in a way that's still like honoring people with those disabilities, but also telling the story. So having like other actors come in and play that, and how do you? I think there's definitely a way to do this. I actually, for the most part, will get into like the creation of this and like the on the set stuff.
Yeah.
I think for the most part they did a pretty decent job with that in the background sense of this. So.
I mean, it looks like it from my vantage point, but yeah, I'm interested to hear your deets.
There's so much to get to. Okay.
All right, that's all right. Just start working your way.
All right. So, 1962, American writer Ken Kenzie.
A cool name.
I know, kind of a cool name.
Ken Kenzie. Yo,
wrote
Ken
this.
Kenzie.
Got the idea while he was at Stanford, I believe. So he, to earn some extra money, volunteered to do like some drug trials. Some like hallucinogenics and things like that.
Cool.
Very cool. So while he was doing these hospital trials, he was at hospitals and he would meet patients, like people who were in this movie, and kind of interviewed them and talked with them about them. And
while he was on the hallucinogens?
Yeah, sometimes while he was on the hallucinogens, which is kind of crazy.
What did you say?
Yeah, why was somebody who was on drugs allowed to be around people who are maybe vulnerable?
Yeah,
Question. But so he got to kind of like the idea that these patients weren't really insane per se, that they were just people who society had cast out because they didn't fit in anymore, but that they were all perfectly sane. That's kind of like his mentality about that, which I think, oh, okay, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, part of that you're probably not wrong. The book itself is one of like the most challenged and banned books of all time in America.
Oh,
isn't that kind of interesting? Like,
yeah,
especially back in the day when this came out, like in the 70s, a lot of libraries and high schools would ban it
because it paints the medical system in a poor light.
Actually, it's more about it being pornographic. I think the book itself is a bit more you get more descriptive in those themes, and then it like glorifies criminal activity, has a tendency to corrupt juveniles, and it contains I'm just reading the quote.
Yeah,
and contains description of bestiality, bizarre violence, torture, dismemberment, death, and human elimination. So that's why the moms went to the PTO and they said, "Get that book, get that smut off of our shelves.
Smut out of here."
So that being said, so kind of for a while there, hotly contested, but people kind of like died down about that when whatever came out next that people were hot and bothered about. Maybe 1984. 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, that was at our Northfield Middle School library.
No, it wasn't.
50 Shades?
No.
Yeah, it sat right at the top. It was actually on display. It wasn't even like in the bookshelf. It was like, hey, anybody want this? This is available.
Any kids start a book club? Actor Kirk Douglas. Do you know him?
Oh, of course I do.
Spartacus here.
Yeah, Michael's daddy.
That's right.
Yeah, he's in Apocalypse Now.
Oh yeah. So on Broadway, he originated the role of McMurphy on Broadway in 1963. So basically, after this book came out, it was very quickly a success. I was banned. That's usually sexy and spicy. Broadway's give us that banned material. We'll make a play out of it. He ended up purchasing the movie rights for it.
Okay.
And
Kirk
did, because he wanted to make this movie and he wanted to play it in a movie.
Yeah, yep.
However, nobody was interested in it at the time.
For a movie?
Okay.
And this is mid-'60s?
This is mid-'60s. Okay. So he tried for about a decade to like get this thing made, to get writers to kind of help tweak it, make an adaptation for it, and no one bid at it. So after about 10 years, he sold the rights to his son, Miguel Douglas.
Miguel Douglas. Mikey.
So Kirk Douglas, actually, he had been reaching out to a Czech director, Milos Forman. Does that name ring a bell to you?
No.
Okay. So at this time, he hadn't done these projects, but He had done a movie in '67 called Fireman's Ball. Apparently, it was pretty good.
What?
Fireman's Ball. Do you have any?
Oh, the Fireman's Ball.
I knew that would shake you.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. So it's a modern day Cinderella.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, and so it's a group of firefighter families, and they don't want their youngest son to be a firefighter, and then. It's the whole story. The enchanted hose
Riveting.
gives him the magic powers and dresses him like a firefighter. He goes to the ball. He meets the love of his life, the chief.
Yeah.
Who is also a guy. It's a gay story. It's
Wow.
Pretty cool. Pretty progressive.
I mean, you might not be far off because he also ended up doing some pretty progressive films later on, like Hair.
Yeah.
And Amadeus.
Amadeus.
Yep, that one.
Amadeus.
So that's your director, Milos Forman. So he's Czech. Got that in your head?
Yep.
All right.
The Czech man.
The Czech man. So Kirk had reached out to him. He's like, I want you to direct it because Fireman's Ball was such a
Dude,
smash.
loved Fireman's
So
Ball.
good. Need you. So he told him he would send him a copy of the novel. Well, the government in Czechoslovakia was like, no. We heard from the PTA. We don't want that smut over here. So they confiscated it. And so then there were like these years of them not communicating and thinking that the other one had dropped the ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they confiscated it in the mail, just
the book,
like
the novel.
how'd they know?
It's the Czech Republic, Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, I need to be specific.
So
Yeah, not the
Eastern,
Czech Republic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it had a
different.
little bit of communism going on.
Yes, which is also, we'll get into that a little bit, but why he wanted Milos Forman to direct it. Because then we kind of usher in some new themes into the movie that maybe weren't necessarily there in the book, like communism and following order and individuality.
Oh,
yeah, so you're seeing the wheels click together. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. So, anyways, finally, Michael Douglas is like, enough, Dad. Let's reach out again. Let's send him another copy. Let's talk to him. Let's call him.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the whole thing sorted out. And Milos was like, yeah, I'd be happy to direct that. I've been waiting 10 years. Why didn't you send the book? So, anyways, he signs on. Unfortunately, at this time, Kirk Douglas is too old to play this role.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to pass it on. We have to find someone new.
And it wasn't Michael.
Not Michael. He wanted to be a producer.
Well, and Mike would have been too young.
Probably.
Like, he's probably around the age that Jack Nicholson is when he does Basic Instinct in the 90s. In the early 90s.
I can neither comment nor comment.
I think he's
I can
probably...
neither comment nor comment on Michael Douglas's age.
He's
because...
probably like mid-20s at this time. Michael Douglas is.
Is he?
Yeah. There's no way he's that old.
He's so old. Like, look at him now. Doesn't Michael Douglas look the same age as Jack Nicholson now? Can't you think of them like in their kind of like older decrepit selves?
No, just like put the timeline together though. Fatal Attraction is like late 20s Michael Douglas, and that movie came out in the late 80s.
Okay.
This is 75. This is like 13 years
So was he
before that.
like...
He's like 15.
So he's 15 years old? Is that what you're deciding is?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to decide.
Yep.
Mike was 15.
The logic doesn't fail.
He's like, hey, Dad, I know I'm not ready for this role yet. Can I just be a producer?
Fantastic. So the writer, Ken Kesey, back to him for a second, he was actually involved in the early stages of the script development, but he dropped out when they changed who the narrator of the story was. Can you think of who would be an interesting person to narrate the story in the book?
Morgan Freeman.
No, I mean like somebody in the book, not as like a
a character.
A character in the book is the narrator of the story, and it changes from that person's point of view. He wanted the movie told from that person's point of view.
Oh.
Who's kind of like maybe an observer the whole time of everything going on.
The Chief.
Yes, a big tall observer.
By the way,
Chief
this movie
Bromden.
came out in 75.
Yes.
Michael Douglas was 31.
Oh.
Yep.
So not 15.
He wasn't 15.
He wasn't 15. Crazy. So if he's 31, if it helps you, Jack Nicholson was 37 in this.
Yeah, you could tell.
Oh, be kind.
No, I'm just kidding.
He's just losing his hair, that's all.
They say that
he's 1 year. He's 1 year younger than the character.
Oh, they say 38?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, I know they give him around that age.
Yeah, I had to Google it because I was like, I need to know. I'm so curious. Yeah. So, but no, yeah, the Chief Bromden, our Native American character in the story, he was the narrator in the book. And that's who he wanted. Ken Kesey wanted that from his point of view. Now, what I'll say is, nowadays, a white writer writing a book from a Native American's point of view in a psych ward probably not your story to tell. However, yeah, interesting. right?
Mm-hmm.
How times have changed. But then we wouldn't have this book, so, or this play, or this movie. All of it. We wouldn't have had any of it.
Triumvirate.
So at any rate, because of all that, he sued the production company, and he won a sum of money.
Wait, who won?
Ken Kesey won
Oh.
some money for that. They still went through with it and told
Yeah,
like,
he
he already sold his rights to it, but I don't know how that works exactly. But he sued them.
So it's like you get to do what you want, but you're gonna pay me a little bit more.
But you're gonna pay me a little bit more. It was like only like 20,000 more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for that. So the filming of this movie was in the Oregon State Hospital, which is the exact same place as the book takes place.
Okay.
So that was a cool fact. There's nothing more to that fact.
Oh,
the book takes place in the Oregon State Hospital. They said we're gonna film it in the place.
I guess that is cool.
Is.
When you first said it, I was like, of course. And then you bring it up, and it's like, oh yeah, no, they would film it on a studio.
No, it's not in L.A. It's not anywhere. They went to Oregon and they filmed it.
That actually is really cool.
I'm
but
so
it
glad
took me a while to let that sink in. Like that's not a big deal.
I knew you didn't understand what I said.
Okay, I'm making a movie about Chimney Rock in Nebraska. I'm gonna go to Chimney Rock to film it. I get it now. Okay.
It seems like for some of us, it seems like that would be a no-brainer, but it's not a no-brainer.
No, for sure.
We don't always go on location for that. But I thought that was cool that they wanted to film it right in the state hospital. And the hospital director, Dean Brooks, was super supportive of the filming of the movie, even though it paints maybe psych wards not in a really positive light. I think he was able to kind of separate, like, that's fiction, that's the book, this is our thing. You'll come into our psych ward, you'll kind of see the differences. He actually played a character.
Was he actually the guy who like checks him in?
Yes, he's the doctor. He's Dr. John Spivey in the film.
I like that guy.
Wasn't he great?
I thought he was really natural and very good.
Yeah. That first scene with Jack Nicholson and him like doing kind of the initial intake interview. I mean, it's so natural, but it's also because it's like, yeah, this guy like literally does this for a living.
Yeah.
And like Jack Nicholson is probably literally crazy. Like, just look at him. Look at his eyebrows. He's crazy.
He seemed really nice.
Yeah.
Like for the doctor. I was like, he seems like a very nice guy.
Yeah.
They think you've been faking it in order to get out of your work detail. What do you think about that?
Do I look like that kind of guy to you, Doc?
Well, let's just be frank for a minute,
right.
Randall, if you would. Tell me, do you think there's anything wrong with your mind, really?
Not a thing, Doc. I'm a goddamn marvel of modern science.
He does. And then just a random thought too, but that character too is also interesting because like later on in the film when he gets in trouble and he has to go up to the next floor to get electric shock therapy, you notice that as the doctor walks down the hallway, all of the patients kind of scattered. It's like, what does he do?
Yeah.
And maybe that's more, I didn't read the book in preparation for this, and I kind of wish I would have, so I could like tell you, oh, in the book this happens, and Dr. Spivey is actually really an asshole.
Yeah.
I wish, but I didn't.
Now I got the feeling that on the first level that they were at, that like that's a pretty like nurturing environment. Besides, Nurse Ratch is kind of an asshole, but like everything else on that environment is pretty like nurturing, and like a lot of them are there voluntarily and stuff like that.
Right.
But then when you go to the next floor, if you get like sent there, or if you like are already there, like you are like in for a rough time. Yeah. That's what I established is like, okay, second floor. Yeah, you don't want to be on the second floor.
You're in a bit more of like a vegetative state, I think, up on the second floor. So anyways, back to Dean Brooks, a.k.a. Dr. John Spivey. Never did anything else after that, just kept being a doctor. But I thought, like you said, I thought he was really good in that role. So he actually selected patients at his hospital for the actors to shadow. As they got into character and stuff. And then he also let some of his patients join in as being extras or even crew members too.
Oh my gosh.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, what I'll say is that Douglas, and I'm going to think they kind of just start using the name Douglas later on in my facts. I think we're always referring to Michael from here on out.
Oh, okay, not Kirk?
I don't know. I'm going to say it's Michael Douglas. Found out later, though, that some of the patients were actually criminally insane. So they maybe had committed some crimes or done something a bit more serious.
Gotcha.
And so he was a little uncomfortable not knowing that at the time that he was maybe employing or putting his actors maybe in potential harm's way. So, but it all worked out apparently.
For sure. And they're already they're still at the asylum. So like, it is what it is.
Yeah. It took about 3 months to film.
Okay.
And they pretty much, except for one scene, they did it in sequential order.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
unique.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
There was one scene that got shot out of order. Can you think of what?
The boat scene.
Yes. How'd you know that?
I don't know.
It
Kinda
just made sense, like from the filming.
It's like, hey, we don't have that
we
boat
need a good day to
until
do
this.
that. Well, that scene almost didn't happen because the director Milos didn't want to ever let the characters outside of the ward. He always wanted the film to he didn't want anyone to escape. We were always on it.
I loved that.
I know, and that's
that
what they
scene,
said.
That scene is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yes, and that's what people said. They were like, "No, we have to have that. It's just uplifting." The production just in general wanted that.
It makes it so when he is sitting there at the end of the movie with the window open and you're waiting for him to jump out and he's just sitting there and he's kind of smiling, like kind of enjoying his time with those people. Like I went back to the fishing moment. I was like, yeah, that's the moment where he really fell in love with these people.
Yeah.
And like they really became like a group. And then I was like, yeah, he's not going to go anywhere. Like he can't leave at this point.
Yeah, for sure. All right, before we get into more on-set shenanigans, because there's a lot, let's get into casting a little bit.
Okay.
So the first person I'm going to tell you about is the person who you couldn't recognize for the first probably 10 minutes of the movie, and I eventually told you, which I don't know if that was the right thing.
No, it was because every time I'd see him on, I wasn't paying attention to the movie. I was just trying to figure out who he was. So it was good that you told me when you did.
Yeah, so who was that person,
It was the character of Martini,
Yeah.
played by Danny DeVito. Now, let me tell you this right off the bat. Danny DeVito is at the most charming I've ever seen him ever. So when I think of Danny DeVito, I think of his character in Hercules, that's pretty much the character he
Phil.
plays all the time. Phil. He's always kind of like a mouthy, chasing tail, really short, like oddball guy who's kind of rough around the edges, but kind of charming.
Yeah.
But this Danny DeVito was so cute. I wanted to be his best friend. Like, he was so cute.
He was.
So smiley.
Yes, he was just a sweet.
Oh
he
my
played such a
gosh.
sweetheart of a character.
I've never
Martini.
seen anything like it out of him before.
Yeah, and so well, and not done offensively at all.
Well, that's one thing I think it's fair to say about everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't find anybody's portrayals offensive, and being a special education educator for so much of my life, like that was something that I was ready to like kind of have some like turnoffs.
Yeah. Yep.
I felt like everything was very, very well intentioned, and nothing bothered me. Granted, I'm not of any sort of disability, so that makes it hard. But working with those students, I have a little more sensitivity, I think, to that, or like something pings, when you see something you don't like.
I thought the same thing. I was just
that was good.
I was delighted in his character. I
He
thought,
was so cute.
I can picture students who I know who like grew up and are just like him.
Yeah,
like,
for
"Oh,
sure.
that's so great.
That's one thing about this movie is I kept thinking of students.
Yeah,
I
you
was
kept
like,
thinking of your
that's
kids.
so much like so and so. That's so much like so and so.
Yeah. So he was actually the first to be cast because
Okay.
he is really best buds with Michael Douglas.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he cast him. And also, he played the role originally off-Broadway.
Oh, gotcha.
I guess it's not original if he played off-Broadway, but he played it off-Broadway, the role of Martini.
Yep.
So he had already played it before.
Uh-huh.
Douglas loved him, and he's like, come on.
Probably because his dad was in it, right? The off-Broadway one, or just not till
I think
Broadway?
off-Broadway. It says off-Broadway, so probably not.
Okay.
Kirk probably wasn't in it anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
But-
Okay.
Yeah.
He is only, do you know how tall he is?
Danny DeVito?
Yeah.
4'8", 4'9",
4'10".
4'10".
Very close, but
Yeah.
still legally a little person.
That's what I was thinking. I knew he
Yep.
was. I knew he was technically a little person because I know he was under 5. Is that the cutoff?
I think it's 4'10".
Oh,
I think it's
really?
4'10" or
Right at
under.
4'10".
Yeah, you
Okay.
can be 4'11" and
Oh,
not be
gotcha.
considered a little person.
Gotcha. Yeah. Awesome. Chief Bromden
Mm-hmm.
was played by Will Sampson.
Now, he looked like he could be a wrestler. Like, he looked like Chief J. Strongbow, Wahoo McDaniel, like all these like old wrestling like
Sure.
superstars. I don't know if you know about this. There is a long history of Native American wrestling characters are never bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for a long portion of history, they were like the number 2 or number 3 good guy in most promotions.
Really? That's
Yeah,
cool.
is that kind of weird? Like, I wouldn't necessarily associate like the American culture of wrestling to be like Native American hero. Or that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna cheer for. But
Yeah.
that's like been a common thread throughout wrestling.
That's interesting.
Yeah, But he looked like he could have been a wrestler because he's so
How
tall.
tall do you think he was? Now that we're talking about heights. I have the height of everyone written down in the cast.
Oh, you do?
No.
Oh, cool.
Just Danny DeVito and Will Sampson.
How tall is Christopher Lloyd? I'm going to guess, because he doesn't look like he's like crazy tall. He's not like Andre the Giant tall.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say he's 6'8".
Oh, a little less. 6'5".
Oh, 6'5".
Oh, 6'5".
Oh, okay.
Just 6'5".
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, very tall.
Very tall.
Much taller than the average Joe, as
Yep.
you see. Like, he just towers over everybody.
He had a huge hand, too. Like, when he put his
Yes.
hand on the fence, Jack Nicholson does at one point.
Yeah.
When he's trying to escape.
Or on the basketball when he's teaching him
Yeah.
basketball.
He
It's
just has these
this
huge
big mitts.
hands.
Yeah, for sure. So he was actually just a painter at the time,
Oh,
and he was minding his own business, and he went to buy a used car. And the gentleman that he bought it from was actually involved in the production as well. The guy was a used car salesman, but was also helping. I don't have specifically what
Sure,
he was, but
just
anyways,
something.
he was something. He was kind of scouting a little bit because he had a really strong tie to the Native American population in that area. And so he goes to Michael Douglas and he says, "Mike, I saw the biggest sumbitch you've ever seen. He's great for this.
6'5".
He's gonna be perfect."
270. He's perfect.
So that's how that worked out for him. Because
Wow.
Michael Douglas had shared that they wanted somebody very tall, very mountain-like for that
Yeah.
for that role. So
Oh, cool.
that's how he got that role.
Nice.
All right, the role of Nick Murphy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mac Murphy. Originally, Kirk Douglas had wanted to play the role.
Yeah.
Got a little too old for it. So these next four gentlemen
Okay.
were thought of for the
They
role.
were just thought of. Nobody else got
No,
offered?
they were actually offered. It says they all turned it down.
Oh, yep.
But
okay.
there's a part of me that's like, turned it down or couldn't. I want to say there had to be some scheduling
well,
things
sure.
in. 'Cause-
Sometimes that's what it means. But, like,
Yeah.
it means
That's
that
true.
they were offered, though. So that means they're all above Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
Yep. In
Yes.
the artistic team's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gene Hackman
Okay.
was the first one.
Hoosiers.
Yes, and he was actually the one that, when the author, Ken Kesey, was involved early on, that's who he wanted to play it.
Okay.
So, James Caan.
Oh, yeah. Sonny.
He would have been great.
He would have. You think you can get up close and bop, bop? No! Military boy.
Also, coming in from Godfather Part 1,
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't too old, apparently. I mean, he would have been in his
40s,
early 40s.
He was 47 in Godfather 1.
Okay.
And
Okay, so maybe he's a little old, but
he
still.
was going to be, I think, 49 in Godfather 2.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like 74 or 5-ish.
So right
So, yeah,
around
he's
here.
right around that
Yeah.
age.
Yeah. So could have made him up to look a little younger, but still, maybe a little old.
Okay.
Yeah. And this one is a weird one. And I just can't see him doing much serious stuff, but I don't know. Burt Reynolds. Have you seen Burt Reynolds do a lot of serious stuff? I just don't have a lot of
Yeah.
Does he
but
do that?
he's so I mean, so is Jack Nicholson.
but in a different way.
Yeah, he's more
Burt
like
Reynolds is like more like historic, like naturally charming.
Like I'm your jock guy. He's like he's the jock of the 70s.
Yeah, he's a Southern jock.
Southern jock cowboy.
Cute,
Is like,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah. Yeah.
be crazy and wrestle with the ladies.
Like,
but then
obviously
again, I say
handsome.
like I'm gonna be crazy and wrestle with the ladies. That is what this character does.
Yeah.
So I could see why somebody would be like reading it on paper, like Burt Reynolds.
What about Burt Reynolds? Has anyone thought about him?
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
actually doesn't sound crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's only crazy when you know what the role looks like now with Jack Nicholson.
Sure.
I also wonder about that with Kirk Douglas.
Uh-huh.
Kirk Douglas is pretty subtle and subdued as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to picture him in this role on Broadway. I'm like, on stage?
Mm-hmm.
In this role? I just can't imagine you in that
Yeah.
role.
Because you think on stage you have to be even bigger.
Yeah.
To have it read.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. Who knows? Maybe he's a really like different stage actor.
Maybe.
Or maybe not. All right. And then our last one, our villainess, Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched. Okay, so I have never seen this movie. You know, I just know some references to it.
Yep.
I knew there was a Nurse Ratched in the movie. Now, let me tell you, because I didn't know, I thought Nurse Ratched was mean, but the whole first part of the movie, I would say like the first half hour, 40 minutes, they don't really portray her as mean. And there's almost like a little bit of weird chemistry between her and Jack Nicholson. And I didn't know. I was like, I thought she was mean, but is it more she's like rough around the edges and then there's like a romance? I didn't know what was coming.
What's
I
going
was
to
like,
happen?
What's to do with Nurse Ratched? Do they hook up?
Yeah, well, that characterization of her kind of plays into why our gal Louise Fletcher ended up getting cast as it. So let me give you a couple of other gals' names. Out of this list that I'm going to tell you, I only recognized 2 automatically, and then the other gals I didn't, but I'm going to say them just for the sake
For the
of the
movie
universe.
buffs.
For you movie buffs, here we go. We got Colleen Dewhurst coming in at number 1.
Oh.
Ellen Bernstein. Yep, Bernstein.
Cool.
Bernstein. Not Bernstein, Burststein.
Okay.
Angela Lansbury.
Oh, weird choice.
Mrs. Potts.
Actually, Angela Lansbury might have been interesting in the 70s in this role, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
She kind of like would
I
have
was thinking
that.
like she did Miss Lovitz probably like in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah,
when
she's
Sweeney
got like
came
that
out,
sweet around the
82.
edges. You're like, oh, just be nice to sweet Nurse Lansbury, and then you're like, what's going on under there? Anne Bancroft, that was the other one I recognized.
Okay.
And then Geraldine Page.
Okay.
These were all the gals who were up for it. Louise Fletcher, who ended up getting the role, so she had about 5 meetings and auditions over the course of a year to essentially land this role. And so initially, I think what the director, Milos, was kind of put off by is that like she wasn't coming off as like evil or like as mean as I think the other gals were reading it.
Sure.
And then he started to realize that it's much more powerful if it's not a visible evil, like that she's only an instrument of evil. Here's his quote. She doesn't know that she's evil. She, as a matter of fact, believes she's helping people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that makes it way more interesting and as an actress too. Like you have to root for your character no matter like how like twisted it is.
Yeah,
It's
be an
like
advocate.
like you like power, you like control, you like being minded, and you are trying to help these men, and dang it, they're not following in line, and they're making a mess every night.
So here's one thing I really liked about her performance. When things would get like passionate and heated, like there's a scene where oh gosh, what's his name? It starts with a C, Chestnut.
Chestnut, yeah.
When he's yelling at her about the cigarettes and everybody's kind of freaking out and there's like a lot of yelling and stuff, and Jack Nicholson's actually trying to calm everybody down.
Yeah.
During that scene, you can see her, and in her eyes start to water. And it was like a little thing that I was like, yeah, when you get when people are yelling at you and you're trying to remain calm, like you have these natural human responses that you can't control. For you, it's you blush.
How dare you put me on the spot like that? How dare you?
For me, my hands start to shake. Like I get shaky.
What?
I like get jittery.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like if I'm about to get in a fight, my hands start shaking. I've gotten called out for it before, where I've gotten really worked up and somebody's like, "Ty, are you okay? Your hands are shaking." I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine." Yeah, like that happens to me.
Ooh.
And so for her, she had this eye water thing, and I loved it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a real response. Like your eyes are gonna water inadvertently, and you're like, shut up, eyes."
Yeah. Yeah, she just
Stay in
has
control.
like that, that iciness too, like over her body as she's sitting there and just so presenting calm, but like you can see like the wheels turning in her head, like, oh man, you boys are all in big trouble.
And I didn't really think she did anything wrong until the end when, well, I mean, even then, like.
We can get into a bit more specifics about what hand she plays in
Yeah.
the downfall of McMurphy, because remember there's a scene where they're going to send him back to the penitentiary because
and she says no.
she wants to keep him, but she knows full well that like he probably would be out in 68 days at the penitentiary.
Yep.
She can keep him. She can control him. She also is one of the people that advocates for the ECT, the electric shock convulsion therapy, and at the end, the lobotomy.
Yeah, that's true. So she is pretty evil.
Eventually, she changes him into a vegetable.
What I'll say, though, and I wonder if this is a complaint against the movie, is I didn't tie that together.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So maybe that means that they should make that clear.
Yeah, could be. I think the other pieces that add to it are so the character Billy at the end.
Now that's the one that I thought like that's her most egregious mistake because she just she pushed him too far, and look what happened.
Even their therapy sessions, how she bullies each of the men in the therapy sessions, and kind of like again, it's very about power and control with her. So we'll get in more to the character of Nurse Ratched because it's like that character is kind of iconic.
And I like when Cheswick even calls her out. Like Cheswick was like, "Why do you make people say things they don't want to say?"
I know. I loved him so
Cheswick
much.
is also adorable.
Oh.
Yeah.
That.
He just wants everybody to be happy and in a good place and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Cheswick was played by Sidney Lasik.
Oh, okay.
Was that? And we'll talk about him in just a little bit. But what a performance from him.
Yeah.
So
he's excellent.
compelling.
Yeah. I would like to know about our cigarettes. May I have my cigarettes, please, Miss Ratchet?
You sit down, Mr. Cheswick, and wait your turn. Mr. Cheswick, you sit down!
So the set, on set, the cast had a week of rehearsals prior to filming, and that was kind of more about just getting into the hospital, observing patients, spending some time there. Jack Nicholson and Fletcher, what's her first name? I lost it already. Luis. We'll call her Fletcher. Fletch.
Yep, this is Ratchet.
Yes, Ratchet. They actually viewed someone going through ECT, electric convulsion therapy.
So then he could recreate it.
Yep. And they knew kind of what all went into that. And then some of the cast lived on set while they were filming. They just lived in the ward.
Gotcha.
Like that all throughout the 3 months.
Pretty method.
Yeah, there's a lot of method.
Pretty method.
I think it
get dirty.
I think it comes to unfortunately, to the demise of some, but to incredible performances from others, or some of the same. So Foreman, Milos, he didn't allow actors to see any of the day's filming that he would do. And so after
That's
a while,
not weird.
you say that, but then the cast started to lose confidence in what they were doing and didn't know. He didn't tell them sometimes when he was filming or when cameras were on. So a lot of times he would catch people in and out of character and kind of spliced it all together. They have a lot of therapy sessions that they do in the circle.
Yeah.
A lot of those were unscripted. You have kind of a place where we kind of get to. Some people are kind of leading it, but a lot of the in-between takes and stuff, not scripted at all.
That makes sense. There's a lot of talking over each other and stuff too, which I thought felt pretty natural.
Yeah, I thought it was just brilliant from that perspective. But after a while, Michael Douglas did convince him. He said, let them see just a little bit of the filming that you're doing so that they're because I think the other thing too, and maybe as an actor, you might agree with this, is if you were playing that type of a role, I would want to know what I was doing was portraying.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Is it too big? Is it too subtle? Is it too offensive?
Definitely.
Give me some feedback or show me what it looks like I can because if I'm trying to match it to somebody that I'm viewing, does it look like it on stage?
That's a good point. This summer, for the first time when I was playing Romeo again,
Yeah.
I went to a fellow actor, and I hadn't done this for a long time, and I said, hey, I trust you. I need your eye. I need you. Because I felt and it's not that leadership was concerned with so many other things because we were on such a tight rope that I was hey, I need you to be listening for things and tell me if it's too much or too little. And so I depended on another actor to give me advice because I wasn't getting that advice. So I totally understand what they're saying with that. Oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Yeah. You think sometimes you don't need a lot, but you just need a little bit of yep, don't worry. Here's a little clip. See? It's going to be good.
Yep.
And then you're okay, cool, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So that was actually one of the things that Jack Nicholson and the director fought about for a bit. They got so heated to a point for halfway through the filming and on, they didn't speak to each other directly anymore.
I've heard
Did
about.
you know that?
No. It just makes me think of there's a show. I won't mention it.
Okay.
There's a show up in the cities that we freaking loved.
Yeah.
And when I heard about the backstage shenanigans about the lead actor and the director just butting heads and arguing in the middle of the cast and stuff and getting huge blowout fights, and I thought that show was astounding. I think sometimes iron sharpens iron, and we have beautiful things happen through a lot of conflict.
That's a really cool way to say that. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the other disagreements that they had was that Milos thought that the inmates should be unruly prior to Murphy coming in.
Oh.
And Nicholson was no, they shouldn't be unruly. The unruliness is as a result of him coming in.
For sure.
And,
I agree with Nicholson.
Yeah, and meeting him and because that's more interesting. And then part of me is also well, what the heck does the book say, you guys? Go to the book. I'm sure that's what it says. Isn't that his character
and
coming
Ken
in?
would say yeah, it doesn't say anything because the Native American chief is supposed to be talking right now. What are you guys talking for?
For sure. This isn't your story. And I wanted Gene Hackman. But yeah, so they used the cinematographer to communicate. They communicated through him. Jack was yeah, so if you could just tell Milos that I am not going to be coming in tomorrow.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. They couldn't even talk to each other. Okay, so Danny DeVito,
yes,
during the filming, he created an imaginary friend.
Oh,
For
yeah?
himself. Yep. He said he was so emotionally strained being away from his future wife at the time. Because I think he must have also lived on or around on the psych set while they were doing this. And so he used it as a coping mechanism. And he said, like, at night he would just have, like, nightly chats with him. And so he actually consulted Dr. Brooks, who was Dr. Spivey in the
doctor,
movie.
yep.
He consulted him. He's like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on here? Do I need to be worried? And Dr. Brooks said, as long as you know that that's not real and it's imaginary, it's
just
okay.
coping
Just use it
mechanism?
as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
That's fine. So
How long was this shoot?
3 months.
Oh, so that's 90 days. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a 45, maybe 60-day tops.
Sure.
90 days is a long one.
Yeah. And when you're on a psych ward
Yeah.
the whole time.
Yep, that is a lot.
Around real patients.
Yeah.
Like, I think everybody would have to maybe question or have to feel like find some moments to go feel grounded a
Yeah,
bit. Like,
sure.
I think that could really take it out
That's
of
why
you.
I don't know if you should have stayed on the psych ward all the time. I think that you needed an emotional break from this story.
Well, and so that leads me into my next one. So Sidney Lasik, who played Charlie Chazzik.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our one of our favorites.
Super sweet.
He had a lot of breakdowns
Oh,
on
really?
set. So he increasingly had unpredictable and erratic behavior. And Dr. Brooks said, I'm not worried about any of you, Charlie or Sydney. I'm worried about Sydney.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not predictable anymore. He started having tearful outbursts during filming, and then during the ending scene when
Yeah.
they filmed that one
The Billy?
No, not with Billy, but the ending scene with
Mac?
and with the
Chief,
chief,
yep.
and when the chief euthanizes him,
Yep.
he had to be like taken off set, like he was erratic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's so sad. Yeah, it just breaks
Gotta
my
be
heart.
careful about that stuff, man. I'm telling
I
you.
know.
That's what we talk about this in intimacy training all the time. You gotta disconnect. You gotta find that you can get emotionally involved, but you have to be able to wave goodbye to the character at some point. If you can't, if you get stuck and it's too unhealthy and it's emotionally damaging, you have to be able to wave
Yes,
goodbye.
Yeah, especially if your character is dealing with these things.
Drama.
Like,
Yeah.
for sure. Ugh, hurts my heart. Jack Nicholson actually is a method actor, but it's funny because a lot of people don't think of him or don't like say that to him about him. So he kind of, I think in an interview to like Sean Penn, he says like, yeah, I kind of have people fooled. Like everyone talks about Brando and De Niro being like these great method actors, and then they come to me and they're like, no, but that's not what you do. And he's like, well, yeah, that is what I do, but I've got you fooled because you don't think I do that.
Oh.
You know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I just
What are your thoughts?
when people brag about being method, I roll my eyes.
Well,
That's
again,
my only problem. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, gosh.
again, and this was a phone call to a friend, but
And
yeah,
not that
you know.
not that it's not useful in your training, but it's just like when the bragging about it, like, yeah, I'm a method actor.
I got 'em all
Nobody
fooled.
knows it.
No one can tell.
Like that's a huge eye roll from me. But cool. Good for you.
For sure. So, Nurse Ratched got kind of envious of the bro fest that was happening on stage.
I thought that would be hard for all the women in the movie, to be honest.
Really,
with you.
that and then the male nurses or the male guards that were on staff, like really anybody who's not in like that core group, like kind of feel like, I just like kind of like cut out of this like camaraderie that's forming here, this like band of hooligans here.
Yep.
And she didn't want to be seen as like always like this evil person. She wanted to be seen like a woman. So I don't have a lot of details about when or why this happened. But she randomly one day offset around everyone took her clothes off.
What?
Yep. She said, I'll show them I'm a real woman under here. Granted, again, like, was it like, were they playing like a poker game? Like, what was happening that was
Like she got naked in front of everybody?
That's one of the she says she took her clothes off. Maybe not all the way naked, but she wanted them to see that, hey, I'm a woman. I'm an attractive woman. I'm not scary Nurse Ratched.
You could tell that when she like dresses up and gets out of
Oh,
her
yeah.
ratchet clothes, you could tell she's hot.
Her hair, it's like the most terrifying hairstyle of all time. She's got like these two bump victory rolls like back, but they like almost like split down the middle, so they become these like giant horns almost.
Oh, sure.
It's terrifying, but also sexy. Ooh, let's talk about some favorite scenes. What are some favorite scenes that you had from the movie?
Okay, let me consult the notes.
Yeah.
So
We talked about the boat scene already. We
Yep.
love that.
Love the boat scene. I love the boat scene for a lot of different
Yeah.
reasons. I loved when Chesnick was up and he was trying to steer the boat and he's like, just go straight. And he's like, oh, what's going on here? That was so funny.
Totally felt his
I thought
pain.
like the fishing thing, like when the guy who's in Last Action Hero, he's the bad guy. He plays a lot of bad guys in like 90s movies. He's the bad guy in Ghost. He was in this movie.
Can you tell me which character?
He's really tall and he's got dark hair and he had a big forehead in this movie.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
He puts the hook through a fish, through a little minnow, and the eye pops out. And then he pulls the eye off and he's looking at it and he's like smelling it. And then he tries to put the eye back in the minnow. It was awesome.
Again, it's
And
like...
something you can't coach an actor to do. That's
No.
just naturally, hey, look at you guys doing this.
Yeah,
and then he
everyone
does
work
that.
on
And
their
it's like,
fishes.
oh, yeah, we have gold here.
So funny. We
loved-
both laughed so
And then
hard.
when they finally come back, when they want to see Jack Nicholson having sex with, I think her name's Crystal.
Candy.
It's
Close.
just a scene. And then when they're coming back and they're all holding fish, and they're like so happy
They're
with
so
themselves.
proud of themselves.
That whole thing was just hysterical. I love the whole boat scene. And then I like the basketball scene too.
Yes.
When they're facing the guards in basketball, and Chief
Yep.
grabs the bottom of the net when one of the guys makes it for the opposite team, and then he just bops it out,
Yeah,
and then
it's
they're
like,
like, doesn't
nope, doesn't
count.
count. Didn't
He's
go
like,
through.
what? I love that. I loved all the stuff with the basketball because you watch Chief get more and more into it too. Like he's like slow at the beginning, and then everybody cheers for him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is fun." And by
Yeah.
the end, he's like skipping down the court. I thought that was really cute.
Yeah. How crazy is it that Chief plays deaf and they say deaf and dumb, but
Yep.
throughout the whole show, and then at the end, like he
Not
kind of
even at the end,
reveals
yeah.
to
2/3 of the way.
to McMurphy that like I can talk, I
Uh-huh.
can understand everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just here.
I thought that's really cool because it really drove home like why Chief does what he does for Mac, like throughout the whole movie, because Mac always does treat Chief like a human. Like he goes up to Chief right away to try to start a relationship,
Yep.
and the guards are talking shit about Chief and stuff like that,
Like,
and
he
he
can't understand,
he
he's
just stays
dumb.
with him, and he keeps trying to work with him on things, and so even when Chief's keeping up with this act, Mac's always trying to help him, even though he thinks that he has this like impossible
Yeah,
obstacle.
because he sees him as a human.
Yeah.
He sees him
And-
as valuable.
And then so like, and he never really says anything that like, I mean, Jack Nicholson's character says things all the time that are kind of like on the edge of offensive.
Oh, for sure.
But
for
he
sure.
never says anything that's harmful to him as a human. Like it's
Yeah.
I don't know. It was really interesting. It kind of drove home. Like, oh, I get why this character kind of fell in love with Jack Nicholson's character.
Yeah.
Like Chief loves Mac.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because at the beginning, it's a bit cringy at times, like when Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson comes on and he meets him first and he does the how and
Yep,
does all that
for
kind of
sure.
offensive stuff. But again, it's also like the 70s and this was written in the 60s
Yep.
and like that was like, haha, isn't that funny? So yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting, if you did it today as a play. I think it still has to like live in that 70s world.
It does too.
Don't you
And
think?
so here's what I would say. I don't think as an actor that you would be no, this is tricky because you have to make sure it doesn't offend anybody in the cast or the audience. But like Jack Nicholson's character could still make that choice, I think, in a production today because the character grows. And
Yeah.
because him and Chief's relationship grow, and so you show the starting point to
Yeah.
ending point, I think it's a valid
He's
exploration.
a complex character, yeah. I think, he's a bit racist.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
he's also an anti-hero.
Yep.
Like that's the what would you call it? The epitome, the epitome of an anti-hero.
Yep.
It's like, he's super flawed. Like,
Yeah,
we
when
don't
you're
have
looking
to
at
like
the
him.
continuity of the character.
That is your other one. The continuity. Wait, what did you say?
You got the continuity, I think.
Oh, those are two of my favorites too. Oh, you know what scene I loved? So for multiple reasons. I love the when we take the vote on the World Series.
Yes.
And the boys lose, but they don't really lose because like at the very end Chief raises his hand. And
Yep.
so like we feel like, she beat us, Nurse Ratched, like she could have like just been nice and let us watch the World Series,
Yep.
but she has to remain
She
that
has
power
to
and
be the power
control.
structure. Which is funny because I've seen teachers act that way in their classrooms.
Of course.
I've seen teachers try to be like democratic and open to ideas and then find a way to finagle things things to not then happen, even
Sure.
though the students all request something.
Sure,
And
sure.
if you open up the lines of power, if you
Well,
do that,
that's-
you
yeah.
have to honor the result, even if that messes everything you want up. Otherwise, you will lose their trust forever.
For sure. But I love it when, we think that he's lost, that Jack's lost, but he's over there watching the blank screen, and then he just like starts pretending that he's
yeah, I
watching
have
it.
that written down,
And
too.
then all of the characters, like Martini, like peeps around the corner, like, what's going on? Like, that TV's off. What are you doing, crazy?
Yep.
And then they all get into it. Oh, I just love that
I
scene.
love it too. Where he's like, "Give me an effing wiener before I die." That's how they end the scene.
Koufax gets a sign from Roseboro. He kicks once, he pumps, he fires. It's a strike. Koufax's curveball is snapping off like a fucking firecracker. All right, here he comes to the next pitch. Trish swings. It's a lot of fly ball to deep left center. It's going. It's gone. Somebody get me a fucking wiener before I die. Koufax looks down. He's looking at the great Mickey Mantle now. Here comes the pitch. Mantle swings. It's a fucking home run.
Gentlemen, stop this. Stop this immediately.
Oh, so funny.
That was just, that was really, those were very fun moments. I forgot about all of those. So, like, I just, honestly, all I could remember was, like, the serious stuff that happened in this movie. And so any of that lighthearted stuff that happened, I was like, oh, this is way more endearing than I remembered.
I would say 3/4 of the movie is more like that than it is serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's really only about 25% serious. But it ends very serious.
Yeah. And who knows? The book might be a bit darker because I
Sure.
think there's even things, and they didn't really get into it too much, but like, I think like one of the guards is abusing one of the inmates in the book. And so that's, we kind of touch on that a little bit. One of the guards is kind of a jerk, Washington, that guard, but we
Wait,
don't.
which one's Washington? Was he like the one with the mustache?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we don't get into that too much. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes
not
they're kind
really.
of friends,
We
and then
see
he
a
just
little
like he's
bit
like a
of it.
little rougher with them.
Yep.
Like he almost like tries to break Jack's arm at the end there.
Yep.
And
Chief
then the
saves
chief
him.
comes and saves him. Oh, Chief. Random. What'd you think of the music? Did you hear the music
elevator
at times?
music stuff that they
No,
or the
not that.
classical
Just
you
like the. Did you hear the soundtrack at all?
only like when they were playing it on the little record player.
Oh, okay.
But no, I didn't pay attention to it otherwise.
Not that. So at the beginning and kind of at the end too, it's pretty unnerving if you listen to it. What it is, it's a bowed saw. You know what that sounds like?
Yeah, the
and
little
wine,
wibble wobble.
Yes, wibble wobble, and wine glasses, and they're kind of like these old songs.
Yeah, like the whistly wine glass.
Yep, like water in them and stuff.
Yep.
And so they're like tuned, and it's a song, but it's just like. Ugh. It's just like
Weird.
on the edge. So they talk about like the music for this too, also being like little crazy.
Yeah, no,
Crazy
I
cool.
did not notice any
You didn't
of that.
notice it. That's
No.
because you are insane.
Subconscious.
It sounded good to you.
Yeah,
it
I
sounds
liked
good to
it.
you.
That sounds cool.
I love this music. Let's see, any other scenes that you liked that you want to talk about?
No.
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 What about lines? Any other lines that you liked?
Oh my gosh, I wrote down a couple lines.
You already said that one. Like, give me a wiener before I
Yep.
die.
So I had a couple other ones. Is that crazy enough for you? Want me to take a shit on the floor? That one.
Good old Jack.
And then he says this thing to one of the guys. He goes, bird dogging chicks and banging beavers.
Yep. He says that. I like the one. Get out of my way, son. You're using up my oxygen. You know what I mean?
Yep. I like this one. This one made me laugh big time when he said it. They was giving me 10,000 watts a day. I'm hot to trot. Next woman takes me on. We'll light up like a pinball machine and pay out in silver dollars. I had to look it up.
You had to look that up.
I had to look that one up.
You
I was
would
like,
never
what was that
remember that.
pinball one?
What was
Like,
that pinball quote he just said?
oh my gosh. It's like,
Yeah.
so funny.
What did you think about when he comes back from electric shock therapy the first
And
time?
he pretends to
and
be
he pretends
comatose?
that
Yep.
he's been vegetated
Yep.
and then all of a sudden he's like, aha, I got you.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was coming. 'Cause we were
Yes.
just so early in the movie.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really funny because you got to see all their reactions. Like,
Yeah.
oh, God, what happened to you?
know.
Yep. And then it sets it up for the ending.
Yeah. Also, power play.
Yeah.
Right? Coming into Nurse Ratchet's group, like,
Yep.
yep. You thought you could control me. You
But
thought
you
you could
can't.
make me docile, but
Yep.
I'm just, he comes like, I'm as sweet as a lamb. Yep, I'll join group.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
Acting. Let's get into acting a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Who are some of your favorites? What do
I
you
mean,
think?
Jack Nicholson's tremendous.
Yeah.
I love
incredible.
his work in The Shining as well. There's several other movies I think he's good. Like, he's good as the Joker and things like that, too. But, I mean, I have my things with Jack Nicholson. I believe on this very
Sure,
podcast
sure.
during the Goodfellas
get into it.
episode, I really ragged on him because I think he's terrible in The Departed. I do. I think he's bad because he's crazy for crazy's sake. Like there's no human connection. There's no grounding in any of his choices. Like he's just is like making weird choices to make weird choices. It's what Johnny Depp does sometimes too. It's like everybody expects this from me, so I've got to give the crowd what they want. I'm just gonna make a weird choice to make a weird choice to be
Yeah.
different.
Nobody likes him either.
Now in this movie though, everything is valid. Everything is an actual response that you can tell it's like core driven, it's impulse driven, it's like a pure reaction to something that's happening, even if it's, I would just say the veneer of trying to fit into society is taken away, and it's his most base and emotional reaction to things. Everything to me felt real. It
Yeah.
felt truthful, it felt down to earth and connected, and so I can't name one choice that I thought was too far. And he makes a lot of crazy choices.
For sure.
But they were all grounded in reality that I bought every single one.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson is incredible in this movie. So that's what I would say about Jack. I think he's terrific.
Yeah.
I thought Nurse Ratched was great, like we already mentioned.
Yep.
Some of the
Louise
subtle,
Fletcher.
some of the subtleties that she did with that role. I love that she wasn't outwardly evil.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that I didn't understand that she was like this conniving, crazy behind the scenes who was like manipulating everything. Even though I think that's really interesting now to hear that. It's like, oh gosh, I suppose you're right. But if like she fooled me even, like that's a
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another kudos to the actress. I thought that Danny DeVito was cute as a frickin' button.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that Christopher Lloyd was down to earth.
Yeah.
And grounded in a way I've never seen him before.
Yeah.
Like
I again forgot baby Christopher Lloyd's
Christopher
in this.
Lloyd's in this
Look
movie.
at him. Look
Yep.
at him.
And his character gets angry and gets worked up a lot and likes to like play tricks on people. But he felt like, especially like students that I've worked with. Like it was incredible. Like I can name students that are just like Christopher Lloyd in this movie.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
he felt super real, and I loved his character interpretation. We already talked about Chisnick. I thought Chisnick was great. I think I generally liked everybody in the main group. And the other ones I thought they were good. Nobody like stands out as like
Yeah.
phenomenal like the ones we've already listed, but I still thought that they were really good. I couldn't name anybody I thought was bad.
Yeah. What I like too is that it didn't feel like anybody was ever like trying to one up each other as far because I feel like
Yep.
at least when I've seen plays in particular like this, it always kind of feels like, well, I want my character to be the one to get all laughs. I want to be the one who has the crazy tick, or I
That's
want
my
to,
problem.
like then it's like you're not doing that for the right reasons.
We talked about Boys Next Door.
Yeah,
Came
the
out
pl-
in
the play.
1988.
Yep.
It's a play of it's not similar to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but
no,
it's
three young men living together or
in a residential, I think it's
home
4, but
all
yeah.
have various disabilities and
Yep.
and it's funny, it's very cute.
It is.
sad, cute.
But whenever I've seen it,
Mm-hmm.
it's always too much, and I've been offended. And granted, I've only seen it once, and I've seen
Every time,
but I've
100%
seen,
of
but
the
I've seen
time.
scenes from it multiple times.
Yeah, oh, that's true.
And so because of that, I've just never seen it where I'm like, this is interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just I have a hard time believing that there's a version out there that's not offensive.
Mm-hmm.
And One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was I was never offended.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's kudos to all the actors.
I think it's a super strong ensemble work
Mm-hmm.
to do that and to just be truthful and to have that fuel for the betterment of the movie. It's not
Yep.
it's not like a star. Like you've got your star, you've got your like it's written that this is his movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like let's support it and let's support the story and let's make it just mwah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So can we talk about things that were cringy though?
Oh my gosh.
Because there was some things. Or do you
Oh.
want to wait?
Well, the only other thing before I get into like awards and Jack Nicholson
Sure.
facts are the title, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any ideas about what that means or what it's about?
I mean,
I don't need to quiz you
figure,
on it.
So
You
here's
won't
what
know it.
here's what I think of. I think of people say you're cuckoo, and that means you're crazy, you know, and that's the connotation for it. And so One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it feels like you went like beyond crazy, and now you're at the point of no return. That's how I took it, but I don't know if it's probably better and more metaphorical than that.
It's kind of hard to say. So the book title in the story, in the movie, nope, in the book, the title is explained better.
Oh, okay.
Not in the movie. We don't ever hear about it. We don't ever hear about it in the movie. It's supposed to be from a nursery rhyme that Chief Bromden's grandmother used to sing to him when he was a child. And so when he comes out of electric shock therapy the first or second time.
The Chief?
The Chief,
yep.
He's singing it in his head. And and that's what it is. So I will sing it for you right now.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
I can't sing it because I don't know the notes, but I'll do my best.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
Vintery, mintery, cuttery corn, apple seed and apple thorn, wire briar, limberlock, 3 geese in a flock.
Oh my gosh.
1 flew east, 1 flew west, 1 flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Oh.
Thank you. Snap, snap,
yes.
snap, 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 snap. Ooh, yeah. That sounds good.
Or if we're any of the Gen Zers that I worked with this summer, yes!
Oh, snap,
yes!
snap, 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 snap.
I'm sick of that, by the way.
Over that. Over the snaps. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Over it. So, yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I'm embarrassed I didn't get that.
I know. It's like, I still don't exactly know how anyways. So that's where that came. That's where the title is. That's where it comes from. So, fast forward to, we can either, I'll give you a couple options here.
Yeah.
We can talk about some Jack Nicholson. We
Okay.
can talk more specifically about awards for this movie and how it did. And we can also talk about the word ratchet and where I thought that came from. Those are my next 3 adventures. Which one would you like to choose first?
I want to say where you thought Ratchet came from. Let's do Nicholson. Let's do Jack Nicholson.
Nicholson Flats. Behind door number 1, Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
First off, what is your fave Jack Nicholson movie? Or movie that Jack Nicholson is in. It doesn't have to be his movie because he does a lot of great supporting roles as well.
So 3 things pop into my mind immediately.
Okay.
The Shining.
Yeah.
The first Batman with Michael Keaton. And this movie.
Yeah.
This movie, to me, is a top 3 for Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
And if I'm just looking at his performance, I think this movie takes the cake. I would have said The Shining.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean,
so
he's
good.
really good in The Shining. But it's been a while since I've seen it.
Sure.
And this one's so fresh. So I'm going to say this is his best movie, acting-wise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he's great in this. My faves would be this, As Good as It Gets. I really like him in that.
That is a good movie.
Because he is, like, I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I need to watch it again. But I remember
He
thinking,
loves that
like,
dog, doesn't he?
see, he ends up loving that dog. He hates the
Oh,
dog
yeah,
at
he
first.
hates the dog at the
He hates the
beginning,
dog at first. That
Yeah.
cute
Yeah,
dog.
he throws it down a chute, doesn't he? Like a laundry chute?
Oh, that just makes me want to watch it. But I just remember thinking, like, man, like, he somehow became charming, and he is not a charming person. Like, just like on a, like, he's got to work at that, you know,
Yeah,
from
yep.
especially at that age, at a looks perspective. Like,
Yep.
it's not. You're not resting on your natural good looks, Jack. Also in A Few Good Men, he's really good in it.
You can't handle the truth.
That's the one.
I figured
That's
that
the
one was
one.
going to come up for you. I don't know why, but I was like, I bet she says A Few Good Men.
Why? would you
I've
say that?
actually only seen parts of that movie. I haven't seen that whole movie. I've seen the ending.
Yeah, he's good in that.
Yeah,
He's
the big
like
speech.
a military nurse Ratchet in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. He plays such interesting roles too. Like, he doesn't get pigeonholed into one thing. I think he really likes. I think he's told his agents, like, get me weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I want to stretch myself as an actor. I don't want to just be the anti-hero. I don't want to be, sometimes he's a love interest. Sometimes he's, mob
No, what
boss.
I would say is this is why I tired of Jack Nicholson, though. The same way I tired of Johnny Depp is because I got sick of seeing him always play, even though they were different
Yeah.
characters, playing. I mean,
I
Jack.
hear ya.
You can say Johnny Depp is different characters when he's Edward Scissorhands, Jack Sparrow, Willy Wonka, like, but they're all weird. Like, so now I'm like, well, you can't play like a normal human being that I can connect with.
Well, that's a good point.
So there comes
yeah.
a point where,
Yeah.
like, I
When you
get
gotta
turned
come back.
off by,
But
like,
I would
that.
say in a good chunk of this, like, he's pretty relatable at times.
I think
like,
he's incredibly relatable.
Like, when
in
he
this.
watches them in the first session, like, you're just watching his face, or when he's trying to teach them poker. That's my
yeah,
other
he's getting
favorite scene.
frustrated,
He's so
and the
upset.
music's going too, and like
Yeah,
I
you
can just
can
tell
tell,
there's
like,
this
he's, like,
overwhelming music bearing down on him. He's
Yes.
like, "Gosh dang it,
He's
shut
like,
that stupid music!"
And Martini keeps ripping his cigarettes in half. He's like,
Yeah.
10, I'm 10, 10 in.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
no.
He's like, that doesn't do anything.
It's garbage now.
Hit me, hit me. Hit me.
I can't hit you.
Yeah, I bet a dime.
Huh?
I bet a dime.
All right, here. Go ahead. That's 20 showing.
No,
Take your money.
no. It's not. It's 10, 11, 12, 13.
This is a fucking queen here, you understand? You don't count to this and to this.
Hit me.
You got 20 showing.
Hit me again. I want another card.
Scanlon, who's pitching the
No,
opener?
but Mac.
Medication time.
This isn't a queen.
Medication time.
I'm not a queen.
Medication.
Oh, he's so sweet. How many Oscar noms, not wins, how many noms do you think he's had?
4.
More.
Oh, 6.
More.
8.
Would it help if I told you he's the most nominated male of all time?
What? Yes. 12.
Yes! Wow, you got it.
Did
12.
you write them all down?
No, because they're going to be ones that you've never heard before.
Oh,
There's
okay.
lots of random movies that he's been nominated for and won for. His ones that he won for Best Actor. He's won Best Actor twice.
Okay.
One for your boy right now, Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, okay.
He won Best Actor.
That makes
Spoiler.
tons of sense.
And then As Good as It Gets. He also won Best
He won
Actor.
Best Actor for
He
Good
won
as It
Best
Gets?
As Good as It Gets.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that he wasn't good in that. It's just that is not a movie I would have assumed he won Best Actor for.
I think we don't have time because I have a lot of movies I need to watch, but I think I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
To see it.
Because I remember liking it. I saw that movie
He's really
multiple
good in
times. I remember liking it,
Mm-hmm.
but that to me doesn't seem like, yeah, that movie won some Oscars. You know what I mean?
It did. It sure did. And he also won Best Supporting one time for Terms of Endearment,
Oh, okay.
which I've never seen.
I've never seen either.
I feel like I should watch that quick so that I can quiz you on it for summers off.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit of just a touch of backstory because he's had a kind of an interesting life. So his mom was a showgirl.
Oh, okay.
She had him when she was 17. His father might have been her manager, might have been another showman. His grandparents decided to raise him as their son, and they didn't tell him that his mom was actually his mom. He grew up thinking that his mom was his sister.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so she wasn't disowned.
So she was really young.
She
then.
wasn't disowned, but yeah, like they
Yeah.
were still a family unit, but he thought his grandparents were his parents.
Wow.
It was not until 1974, the year this movie comes out,
Oh my gosh.
that Time magazine reporters did some digging and informed him who his mom really was.
He was 38 when he found out
He was
when
38.
that was his mom.
Yeah. Yeah, that his whole life had been, and she had passed away by now. So, and his grandparents were all passed away too. So he didn't have anyone to like.
So he couldn't even verify it and be like, "Hey, what happened? Tell me the whole story."
Yeah. He says it was pretty dramatic event, but it wasn't what I would call traumatizing. He says I was pretty well psychologically formed by then.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I guess that part
he
makes
kind of like
sense,
rolled
yeah.
with it, but like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's
and
insane.
crazy that it was like the year of like this film that like that all,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess when this film was released. So maybe, because he's actually was kind of, I don't want to say a big shot. Like he had a couple of things before this. This wasn't his big thing. He had already been nominated before this for Academy Awards.
Do you remember what one of his first things are?
Yes. It was for the movie Easy Rider
Oh, okay.
in 1969.
No, I was going to ask you, do you remember what one of his first films is?
I remember what one of his first films was.
Yeah, we watched
He's
it.
the patient in Little Shop.
Oh, he's a salesman. He's not a patient.
He's the patient for the dentist.
He's
the guy who likes the
you're
pain.
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Yep. Mm-hmm. He's got a really fun scene.
Yes.
And then when we did Little Shop back at our community theater, don't sue us. We added that scene in.
Oh,
And
that's right. It's
we
like, why are you saying that?
recast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he went to LA when he was 13 and started getting small gigs and acting and writing, and that's when, well, not when he was 13, but that was one of the first things that he had done notably.
I think that he's just a salesman in the original Little Shop, though. I don't know if there is the dentist in the original.
He's the patient. He's
Bill Murray's the patient in the new one.
Yeah, but he goes in and he's the patient who likes pain. He goes in and the dentist gets mad.
Maybe, yeah.
The
maybe
dentist
you're
is mad. I'm pretty sure. I think I want
just
to say I just
don't even
skimmed
remember.
it today.
I don't remember Oren in the original one. I can picture so many other things.
Mm-hmm.
Feed me. The voice actor Roger too, and that was so funny. Feed me.
But yeah, so not until Easy Rider, 1969, he plays an alcoholic lawyer, and he got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. That was like his big break. So 69 is kind of when it's like, oh, cool. And then he does some other things after that, and everyone's like, Jack Nicholson.
So
cool.
his big breakout was when he was like 33 then.
Yeah. Yeah. Good math. Probably. I don't know. Do you estimate it?
Nailed it.
The only other thing I'll just like, because I don't want to get like too into like, yay, Jack Nicholson, without like acknowledging some problematic pieces here. Some assault history, several fights.
Yeah. Heck
but,
yeah.
Yeah. But then also one or two with like prostitutes. So
Fights with prostitutes?
yeah, like battery after the fact, or like
Gross.
didn't pay them or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, well, didn't pay them and
Didn't pay them
assault
and then didn't pay them and then assaulted them.
Oh.
I'm just putting it all in one sentence now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So not great. Not great.
That's not great.
Yay, Jack Nicholson. Such a talented actor. All right, are you ready for the other doors? Door number Ratchet, number 2, or door number awards, number 3?
Let's do 3.
3 awards. All right, this movie is, I want you to guess. It's on 100 Greatest Films in 100 Greatest Years for AFI. Where's it at? Where's it at? Give me a range.
I'm going to say it's in the 70s.
No, lower.
And then...
Or higher, technically, because it's better.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad you clarified it. In the 50s.
33.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's 33?
33. 100 years of film. So this goes to like probably it's probably a century thing they did.
Yeah, it's probably like
to
2008 to 1908.
or maybe I said 1900, like, you know, all the films that were made in 1900. Oh, film buffs are gonna kill me.
Here's the streets of Atlanta and people walking down in this grainy footage for film number 4.
Oh, it's fantastic. Give it an award. For AFI's Heroes and Villains, number 5 goes to
Nurse Ratched.
Nurse Ratched.
Wow.
Yeah, that character is so iconic that it even resulted in a spin-off on Netflix this last year.
I think I saw a trailer for this.
Yes, Sarah Paulson plays...
Sarah Paulson.
Sarah Paulson she's an actress.
Yeah.
Have you heard of her?
Yeah.
She...
You know what she's been in?
The trial of O.J. Simpson. She was really great in that. She has got her
Who was she in that?
permed hair. She's one of the lawyers.
Okay. I think I know.
She's so good. I'm blanking.
Oh, that's all right.
I
think I know who you're talking about.
She's
now.
very good. She was in a lot of American Horror Story stuff.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, Ratchet, Netflix. It's a origin story.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about it, but I think it's basically she goes to be a nurse at a psych ward. But I think like there's understory, like she's trying to actually break her brother out, and then like I don't know. I don't know what turns her.
Oh,
Something turns her at some point.
Evil.
Something evil. This film was the second to win the Big 5 at the Academy Awards.
So Best Picture,
Picture,
Director,
Actor,
Actress, and Cinematography?
Screenplay.
Oh, Screenplay.
Yeah.
Okay.
5, the Big 5.
Cool.
It happened first in 1934 with a little movie called It Happened One Night.
Oh, cool.
You remember that one?
Nope.
Cool. Hadn't happened again until 1991 with this psychological thriller. 1991.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how did you get that so fast?
I don't know, but I did.
It was how I said psychological thriller.
I mean, that helped.
I know.
It was very helpful.
I was going to give you some impressions, but I'm glad that you got it.
No, now you seem upset.
There, that was what I was going to do.
You've never seen that whole movie, I don't think.
No, I have not.
You've seen all the popular moments, but I don't think you've seen the
scary
whole movie.
stuff. Which is bad. I've seen all like the scary climactic stuff, but when you don't see it in sequence,
it's not
it's
scary.
not so scary. So
I know.
It takes the power out of it.
I should start showing you. There's this website where they go through. It's called the Kill Count, and they go through scary movies, and he like jokingly describes the plot, and then he'll show like the clips of like the deaths, and be like, then so and so gets killed this way and stuff. You'd probably really enjoy it because you'd be like, yeah, it's not scary at all. I get to see all the deaths.
No anticipation.
I hear the whole story, and now I'm ready to watch the movie. I'm not even worried. That's when this death happens. Okay.
Yeah, it's always the anticipation. It's never the,
Yeah.
What is that famous Alfred Hitchcock quote? It's like, it's the anticipation of the bang, not the gun itself.
Sure.
That we have fear in.
Yeah.
That's a really terrible quote. All right. And then in 1993, this movie was selected for preservation by the Library of Congress.
Oh, okay.
It's because it was culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. So it's saved forever.
The PTO moms appealed that, and it
back.
was actually thrown into the fire, and so it's not in the Congress anymore.
Banned. Burn it.
Yep.
Burn
and
it books.
They replaced it with 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, that's so great. Sweden loves this movie.
Oh, that does not shock me in the least.
What? I thought it was a very interesting fact.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just decided
Wait.
to take a pot shot at our Swedish friends.
Swedes, you Swedes. Yeah, this was a regular theater option until 1987. It ran for 11 years
Wow.
in Sweden. I don't know why it's so funny.
87. Like, you want to go see Terminator 1 or you want to go see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for the 18th time? Exciting.
Yeah, I think such a Cuckoo's Nest game. Yeah, 11 years. I don't think I've ever heard of anything doing that before. Like, we don't have anything like that over here that's like always available
Rocky
to watch.
Horror.
Yeah.
Rocky Horror's
would that-
always been available. Not like wherever you are, but like in certain markets, it's constantly available.
I guess that's a good example.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, something like that.
I bet Star Wars is like that. The original Star Wars. I bet it's like available at a theater.
Yeah,
all
they
the
just
time.
made it sound like it was like always like an option. Like, well,
at
you
every
know,
theater.
yeah,
John Hughes movie and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Die Hard and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
for sure. I don't know why Sweden of all the places too. So back to Ken Kesey because we gotta always get back to him.
Yep, that's the writer, right?
Yeah, he's the writer.
Ken.
He hates it.
Hates the movie?
He hates it because they didn't make cheap ramen.
Yeah.
The narrator.
Gene
And he
Hackman.
has tried never to watch it.
Oh, well, how can he hate it if he's never watched it?
Exactly. Well, he did accidentally watch it one time.
How
for
do
a
you
little bit.
accidentally watch
He
it?
said, here's the story. He said he was channel surfing.
Yep.
And he started watching it. And he's like, oh, what's this? And then, like a few minutes in, he realized what he was watching, and he immediately changed the channel.
I think he's a liar. I think he's totally seen it. There's no way your curiosity won't peak. You'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go get a cookie dough blizzard. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna watch this stupid movie. I know I'm gonna hate it,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna reward myself with a second cookie dough blizzard when I'm done. Like, you would watch it.
Yeah, to me,
It's your work.
it's-
You have to watch it.
Right.
He
And
saw
like,
it, for sure.
and to not think that, like, to think that your work is so perfect the way it is
Untouchable.
that like nobody could ever perfect upon it or like shot it from a different perspective, like, and that has no value. Like, come on, get over yourself. Get over yourself, King Kesey.
Well, you're gonna have to read that book.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah. So then you can tell us.
I
it's
might.
like.
I might. I'm really intrigued by it, especially if it gets into like more of these backstories of some of the characters.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I for sure would do that.
I for sure.
I for sure would read this book.
What are you reading over there, Rach? I'm reading One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
We love it in Sweden.
I'm reading it in. I was gonna say in Swiss.
Budget $3 million.
Nice.
Gross $109 million.
Whoa!
So,
109?
Well,
That's
Swedes.
a lot.
The Swedes.
Dude, yeah, it'd be interesting to see domestic versus worldwide because there might be a difference there.
Yeah, that's true. This is cumulative, so
Yeah.
that's the Swedes in there.
Huh.
All right, are you ready to finally hear about the word ratchet and where I thought it came from?
Yeah.
Do you know the word ratchet when I say
Well,
that?
there's a ratchet wrench.
Yeah,
It's ratchet.
Yeah.
So that's a ratchet.
that's true. Do you know the slang term ratchet? Have you ever heard that before?
No, I don't think so.
This party is so ratchet.
No, that doesn't sound like that's a thing
That
people say.
girl is so ratchet.
Oh, that girl's ratchet.
That ratchet hoe.
Oh,
You've never heard it
now
like
it
that?
sounds pretty negative when you said ratchet hoe.
Well, it's interesting because it has several meanings.
Okay.
The word itself. I want to talk about the slang term first.
Yeah, and I want to know what you thought.
Well, I'll start with that. That
Okay.
term, for some reason, so the slang term can mean exciting or increasingly awesome, or it could also mean promiscuous and dramatic.
Oh, that ratchet ass punk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
yeah,
you could say,
that was appropriate.
Oh, that's so ratchet.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the word. And I always
Uh-huh.
thought, I don't know why, I always thought when I heard that word, it was Nurse Ratched. Like, that's what the reference was. I thought people were coming.
Oh, you thought when they were saying that.
I thought the new slang term was like a cool literary reference. But they were like saying like, it doesn't make sense from the exciting standpoint, but like
Yeah.
when they talked about women being dramatic, because it's usually used with like women, I always thought like that was
Oh,
like
the conniving evil.
yeah, yeah,
Back.
like but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for
Promiscuous.
promiscuous doesn't. make
Anyways, it's neither there nor here nor there because it's spelled differently. It has nothing to do with Nurse
sense. They're
Ratchet.
spelled differently.
Yeah, this is Ratchet. The slang term is rat, R-A-T, and then C-H-E-T,
Okay, like a ratchet wrench.
like a ratchet wrench.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and then Nurse Ratchet is different.
Oh, okay.
Ratch, it's almost like
Is it IT?
Ed. It's like Ed.
Oh, ratchet.
Ratchet.
Ratchet?
Ratchet.
Oh.
But no T. I don't think there's a T in it.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I'm gonna tell you where it comes from.
Yeah.
The not the slang. Oh, no slang term. I'm gonna tell you where the slang term comes from, not her name.
Oh, okay.
The slang term. I already told you the meaning. We think it originated in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Hey, shout out to Paul.
AKA the Ratchet City.
Oh, they call it. Wait, because of the wrenches?
I don't know.
Or because it's a party city?
Party City, maybe? It's lovingly referred to as the Ratchet City. In August 11, 1998,
98.
in rapper E40's song, Lieutenant Roastabotch, is where the first mention of the word ratchet was formed.
Wow.
So that was like a term.
Lieutenant Roastabotch?
Lieutenant Roastabotch is the song. Ty, how does Lieutenant Roastabotch go? Don't you remember that song?
Lieutenant Roastabotch got a ratchet a hoe. Got a ratchet a hoe, faux show.
Yeah, something like that. More or less.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Okay.
So that's where it came from, not this movie.
But you don't know why they came up with the name Mrs. Ratchet? Like,
Oh no, I just think that's just a weird last name.
that's
and-
what I figured too.
Yeah. Oh, here's the difference. Yeah, it's just the E or the D versus the T at the very end.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
So her name ends with a D,
D. Ratchet.
Miss Ratchet.
Ratchet. Yeah.
But they sound like they said Ratchet the whole time.
Yeah.
Miss Ratchet.
Nurse Ratchet.
Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah, it does.
I've
doesn't
always
it?
heard it like a T.
I hear a T.
But it's a D.
I
Okay,
know.
well, that's good to know.
I know.
That's why you check in with us, folks.
That's why you get this. Delivering the good stuff here. Lieutenant Roastabotch. All right, that's all I have to say for myself about that section.
Oh, my gosh.
I knew it was a risk. I just thought, like, I should probably come clean about that word.
Oh, I like it. This is also a confessional. So, like,
Yeah.
this closet
Oh, I've
serves
remembered.
as a booth.
I was going to tell you, that was, like, a big word in 2012. That was, like, added to, maybe not the dictionary, but maybe the Urban Dictionary. It's like word of the year, ratchet.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
That doesn't
And I was really hip in 2012. Yeah.
Would we say
I had
that?
just graduated from first grad school. That was pretty awesome.
So cool. All right, my love. Should we get into what else should we get into before I do Rotten Tomatoes and the consensus?
Well, I want to talk about cringy stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh,
Yeah.
let's talk about it.
So there is some cringy stuff, but it doesn't have anything to do with what you think would end up being cringy.
Yeah.
You think that would be cringy is like some of the depictions of these people in this insane asylum, but like that's not at all
Yep.
what is offensive. And granted, historical, you kind of mentioned it, like how everybody in the ward, all the people in power, are black. Was an interesting choice.
The guards are.
Yep.
Are
But then there's
black.
like these white people that are over top, but that seems like somewhat historically accurate. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm not gonna get on you about that, I suppose.
Yeah, that's not untrue as far as a historical piece.
Now, what's
Yeah.
weird is the depiction of certain female characters in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The character of is it Crystal or was it
Candy.
Candy? I keep calling her Crystal.
Candy.
So okay,
yeah.
there's a moment in the movie where we're getting towards the end, and they always treat this Candy character a little weird. Like you could tell that I thought they were boyfriend girlfriend. I thought it was like I broke out of this slammer and I'm gonna like go pick up my girlfriend while we go on this boat ride. When they go to the fishing trip, they pick up Candy, and they're like gonna go do it and stuff and like all this stuff. But anyways, so you think that they're kind of involved. Well, Candy shows up with her girlfriend at the psych ward.
Yeah.
And there is one of the guards who he like
the
makes
night guard.
He pays him off, and then he said there's gonna be alcohol, and they'll share the alcohol with him. And then the guard wants like sex from one of the girls as well. Like it's strongly implied.
Yeah.
Strongly where it's almost undeniably
Yeah,
implied.
he says.
And almost
That's not all those girls are sharing, is it? Or is
Yep.
that-
And so he pretty much wants to have not only with one girl, that's not enough. He wants to have sex with both girls at the same time. Like that when he
Oh.
said the sharing thing, that's totally what he meant.
No, I think what he meant was he was asking him, are they hookers? And Jack Nicholson was like, yeah, they're going to share, like, That's not all we're not just
So
sharing.
he was talking
alcohol.
about them sharing, not they're going to be sharing him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I took it as like one girl's not enough because he had already implied about the one girl.
Yeah, no, I think it was just the one, and it was just more a way to ask, like,
Okay.
and these are hookers, right? Like, you can set me up, like, I want a free whatever from one of these gals.
Sure.
And that's what it was.
Okay. Well, anyways, that whole
Yeah.
sequence is really cringy.
Ugh,
and then they go into
right.
like he's like creeping on this girl for like the whole scene and stuff. It's just really weird.
Yeah.
And then there's a moment later on with the character Billy. Which we didn't really talk about Billy a whole lot.
Billy, yeah,
Billy's
kind of
got
the
a
younger
stutter.
one.
He's young. It says introducing, so it looks like this is his first big project.
He got nominated for Best Supporting.
Oh,
for
he
this.
did.
Yep.
Okay. I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was great. I
Yeah.
thought he was just, he's all
I
right.
wouldn't have nominated him for Best
I wouldn't have
Supporting.
either. I would have nominated one of the other dudes
or
for
nominated what's his butt who had the breakdown.
Yeah,
he had a lot more to work with.
Or Danny DeVito.
Or Danny DeVito.
So cute.
So sweet.
Yes, because Billy, to me, he was even under Christopher Lloyd as far as acting for me. He was pretty far down there. But I thought he was good.
Yeah.
And this character's kind of like a lover boy. He's like falls in love really easily, a little bit of a Romeo. And he had talked about like how he tried to commit suicide with other girls and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
so there's all this stuff with gals that you know that's like a huge motivating factor for him as a human. But then he like Jack Nicholson offers Candy up to Billy. And Candy just is like, okay, I'll have sex with this guy?
Well, Candy's a prostitute. I'm not trying to like make that like
Sure.
a thing, but like I think that's part of her profession.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it is weird
I thought
because
it was
they're
weird.
like they're not really. I wouldn't think of them as boyfriend and girlfriend. I just like he even says it like, "Are you gonna marry her?" Like, no, we're just
Yeah,
like
he does say that.
like they're just f buddies,
Yep.
and I don't know. It is weird though.
It is weird. They're
like,
almost portrayed in a relationship the entire movie, though.
yes,
Like they're always around each
Yeah.
other. They seem to be kind of like cuddly and stuff. Like he actually seems like he cares about her.
Yeah, yeah.
And she obviously cares enough about him to like try to break him out, like and stuff after she
Yeah.
gets kicked out of the asylum.
Yeah,
and
maybe
stuff.
they are boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah,
but maybe
so-
he's also like, hey, help my friend out.
It's
Help my friend
weird.
lose his
No matter how you
virginity."
slice it, even if she's a prostitute,
I
it's
know,
weird.
I know, and that's like the misogyny piece. It's
Yep.
like these women characters are just
Yeah.
like passed around and not valued. and-
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That part made me feel uncomfortable. And it's right towards the end, too. So it's like a trip at the finish line for me. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't like this that much. Like,
Sure.
And so,
I think that's okay that it makes you uncomfortable. I think that's probably a good thing.
yeah. So that was like my big problem that I thought was pretty damn cringy.
Yeah.
Was how those two female characters are treated, especially Candy throughout the movie.
Right. And I mean, yeah, you think about it, like he's also, I think that goes into like that anti-hero piece again. Like he's like, is he doing the right thing? Like, probably not, but like he thinks he is, and and I don't know. Yeah, it's unconventional, his heroing ways.
Sure.
But yeah, also probably why the high school in Alaska said like, let's maybe not do this play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the character in 50 Shades, she consents to everything.
That's
And
true.
so that's why it can be in the middle
They sign
school
a legitimate
library.
contract.
They do.
They do.
Yep. So middle school libraries can hold that literature.
What else? Anything else you can talk about?
No, that's the biggest cringy part.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I did not remember that at all. Ugh.
Yeah, I'm going to throw out a comp for this movie, or maybe we're not quite there yet.
We're wherever you want to be.
Okay. This movie gave me, not as good as this movie, though. This movie gave me serious, like, Dead Poet Society vibes.
Oh.
Listen to my reasoning.
Okay.
Movie starts with the growing of a group, like the connections forming between a group of individuals that become like a little more cohesive of a unit that are led by like a charismatic leader and character. And the group goes through trials and tribulations, and it's mostly fun and mostly interesting to watch these people grow and connect throughout the entire movie for about 3/4 of the movie. And then the last quarter gets very dark very quickly. And Dead Poet Society is able to like then spin it to like hope and like there's still this growth and maturation that happen and everything. And at the end of this movie, although like you're supposed to still get that, I had a profound sense of more like demoralized sadness, even though there is like an escape with Chief like running out of the asylum at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it has a similar like kind of feeling and vibe that I got through both movies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I would even say I think it's better than Dead Poet Society.
And I would say you're crazy.
That's why it works. Interesting little tidbit that I forgot to mention. A lot of production companies, when they first put this movie out, one of the reasons why they wouldn't take it on is because they wanted McMurphy to live in the end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they were like, no, he has to die. Like, if he lives, then Nurse Ratched, they win. Like, he stands as a symbol.
He's like
he's an example. He's been made an example of. Like, he has to die.
Yeah. So let's talk in depth about the ending.
Yes.
Okay. So Billy has sex with Candy.
Yeah.
Billy, then the next morning, Ratched comes in and is all pissed off. And this is what you see her kind of at her most evil. Billy, they get Billy out of the room with Candy and stuff and send Candy on her way. Well, Billy is like pretty much throwing everybody under the bus because Ratched, we find out she's friends with Billy's mom, and
she's
is
going
to tell Billy's mom about it, and he's like
He's
still
freaking
under her
out.
thumb and her power, and is like, no, please don't tell my mom, and all this stuff. He's throwing everybody under the bus to try to save himself, and then she's pretty much like, no, I'm still gonna, even when he tells her who everybody is who forced him to do it. He says he pretty much got like raped into doing it. It's like, no, he didn't. That's not true.
Yeah.
But he then runs into a room and he cuts himself on a big piece of glass and slits his own throat. And so that is like our first huge moment. You're like, oh my gosh, Billy just killed himself. And then then Jack Nicholson's character goes and gets more electric shock therapy.
No, he gets a lobotomy.
He gets a lobotomy. That's why he has that scar on his forehead.
They show the scar on the forehead. So what that is like your prefrontal cortex, your personality
gets disconnected, right?
Gets disconnected from the rest of your brain. So you lose like, your personality, intelligence, all that stuff is sacrificed so that you are as meek as a lamb and you're just like kind of a vegetable, more or less. You can still do things.
And
but, yeah.
what I really liked was Chief had a monologue earlier in the movie where he talks about his dad. And he talks about how he says his dad used to be big and powerful and everybody looked up to him and everybody beat up on him.
Like working on
they
him.
worked on him. And so they made it like took advantage of him, used him for whatever he could give. Like pretty much just took and took and took like the giving tree to where he had nothing left. And so he turned to the bottle.
Yeah.
And then the bottle like sucked out his soul and he was like comatose by the end. And then he watched and he said, the same thing's happening to you. They're doing the same thing to you.
They're working on you.
And then you see at the end that it worked. And then Chief ends up,
He's like, I can't leave you here like this.
Yeah.
And then he says, you're coming with me.
Yeah. So crazy.
Yeah.
And then he breaks out of there by breaking down that pipe that they said never could get broken or whatever.
Yeah, he just this giant block of this like sink.
Sink ceramic deal.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I was like, what?
Not really sure what it was. But
Yeah.
It's like,
nobody thought to disconnect any pipes.
It's
or
attached
anything.
to pipes. Well, it's like you can squirt water out of it.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. What
Yeah,
it
it's
is, but
weird.
It's like concrete, marble, both of those things, materials all in one.
But Chief's so strong, he destroys it.
Chief, man.
Yep.
He's awesome.
Yep. So crazy ending to the movie.
Yeah.
Like the whole ending, you're just like, whoa. And then all the guys in the place are all cheering when Chief escapes at the end, which is like heartwarming at the end. But I just kept thinking, like, gosh, yeah, like this is a dark turn.
Which is why I love it. Oh, I love a dark turn at the end.
Yeah, you would.
I do.
Like you loved it when Mandy Moore died. And Walk to Remember.
You know I did. She's like the wind tie.
Now Jack is like the wind.
He's
Mac is like the wind.
All right, are you ready for Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, let's do it.
RT gives this, I want you to guess.
91%.
Ooh, so close. 94%.
Okay.
94% Rotten Tomatoes. Audience score,
89%.
96%.
Oh, okay.
You went the wrong way, sir. The consensus. The on-screen battle between Jack Nicholson and Louise Fletcher serves as a personal microcosm of the cultural wars of the 1970s.
Oh.
And testament to the director's vision that the film retains its power more than 3 decades later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that now with the communism versus fierce individualistic American identity.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that is, I could see that grander theme now.
And those could be themes in the book, but I think that was especially why they wanted the director that they wanted for this movie to really get in at that
Get
next
into
level.
that communism
Why don't we just
stuff.
dabble in that communism theme here? That'd be fun.
That'd be fun.
Are you ready?
Yep. Okay.
I'm ready for you.
Was that crazy enough for you? Yes, Mr. Nicholson. This performance was the perfect amount of crazy. Danny DeVito is in his most charming role, Doc Brown, or Christopher Lloyd, proving he can be subtle and the rest of the cast stealing your heart throughout. Better than Teen Wolf? You loony bin. More enthralling than Godfather 2? You're crazy. Tied with Scarface, you bag of nuts? You betcha. 72%. Now, I want to like qualify something though too. Those are things that he said throughout the movie, by the way. I looked up like those random terms that he'd call people.
That's what he did?
Yeah. I think he didn't say bag of nuts, he'd call them nuts all the time.
I
was
like bag of nuts.
Bag of nuts.
That's
It's fun. So 72 might sound low. It's tied with Scarface though. And I freaking love Scarface.
Yeah.
It's higher than Teen Wolf.
Tie.
It's
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
yeah.
You think could have been tied with Teen Wolf?
No, it's higher than Teen Wolf. That's what I'm saying.
How much higher?
3%. Teen Wolf 69.
3%.
Teen Wolf was good. Teen Wolf, according to Bill Simmons, is the story of Kobe Bryant.
Oh,
so, like,
Lord.
just think about that for a little bit. It's higher than Godfather 2.
This film won the Big Five.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many times it's been done?
3 times.
Yes.
One
good.
was Silence.
Oh, good, you
One was
remember.
Silence of the Lambs, which honestly is a good movie, but I also rate it around the 70% range. So, like,
That's fair. I don't care.
so this movie has room for growth. You got to remember, this is my first journey into this movie. I'm still kind of processing it, to be honest with you. Has the ability to move up in longevity and things like that. The performances are astounding. The movie just, I found myself like connected to it, but not to the degree that it's going to like have a very long-lasting impact. So because of that, and when I was looking at these other movies that are ahead of it on that Summer's Off rating score list, I was just like, you know, I can't say it's up there with these movies. I think even like when I think about that versus Scarface, like I think I like Scarface more.
We like Scarface, but
This movie is excellent. If I was just rating this as a movie, this movie is in the 90s.
okay, I needed to hear you say
Yes.
that. I needed to hear you say
As a film.
I didn't want you to lose credibility with our listeners for like being able to acknowledge a
Yeah.
brilliant film when there's a brilliant film.
This
now,
movie
do you
is
like it as
This
much?
movie is brilliant. This movie is brilliant. This
Okay.
is a 90-something% movie easily.
Okay,
It's
okay,
fantastic.
okay.
It deserves the accolades that it got.
Very good.
I wouldn't have nominated Billy, but I would have nominated one of the other guys.
Yeah.
I think that everything else is pretty much on par.
Perfect.
But for me,
Mm-hmm.
just rating it out of my score, it's a 72.
Okay.
I really liked it though. Don't let that sounds bad. I know it does. Don't let it sound bad.
You're just
it's good.
You're just wrestling with yourself on this. I can see it.
See, I'm
see it.
not wrestling with myself because I'm at peace with the score.
Are you?
I'm just
Keep
trying
saying
to.
that sounds bad.
I'm just trying to make the listeners and you understand that means I really enjoyed this. This was excellent.
It sounds like you did.
72%. Which makes it sound like I did it. That's what I'm trying to clarify. Starship Troopers, I think, was like a 70%.
Oh,
And I love that movie.
These are all way too close. Way too close to each other for comfort.
I know. I hear you. But I don't deny my heart.
I know. It's almost like we need to go back through the whole list and just redo everything.
It's like everything needs to be bumped down, I think, for me. So there's a lot more rotten
we
movies.
have a lot of stealing that needs to be
Yeah.
aired out.
Yep. I'm
Yeah.
going to go into 72 point somethings now. Like, that's where we're getting to, you know?
Yeah, I got into a tough spot because I'm up there. I'm in the 90s, but
I
I needed to
figured you
see
would
like
be.
where I was in the 90s. So, because for me, I think I had like Moulin Rouge at a 92. So I was like,
Yep.
I'm not touching that. I'm not even on the same percentile as that.
Uh-huh.
And yet, I didn't have much room to go. So I'm at a 91 with this.
Okay.
91%.
What's it above?
My Girl.
Okay.
Say Anything.
Okay. That makes sense.
Not Say Anything. No.
Say anything for sure.
Nope. That was
Say
not.
anything's below mine.
You keep saying that. It's not the right
Say
one.
anything.
It's-
Say anything. My Girl was so cute, though. I
What was
can't
our
put it above My Girl.
teen movie? Oh my gosh, I can't.
Can't
think
Hardly
of
Wait?
it. Yes.
You put it above Can't Hardly
I
Wait.
put it above Can't Hardly Wait.
Preston.
Like 1
in
percentile,
love
2 percentiles
with
above.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Jennifer Love Hewitt and her hair.
I know.
So beautiful.
Great, but for different reasons. Maybe not from a filmography standpoint, but also a great movie. Deserves to be up there, but this also deserves to be up there for different reasons.
Yeah.
Just a valid 91% for me.
Okay. Cool.
Very good.
Well, there you have it. Another
was.
91 percenters coming to us next week, if you're ready for it. Unless you have anything else that you want to touch on.
No, I'm so ready.
Okay.
What are we watching next week, Ty?
Next week, we are watching the film classic. Like, I want to keep it with, like, movies that were highly regarded, that were Oscar winners. Yours won the Big Five. I think mine won the Big Five, too. It won Teen Choice Award for Action Movie, MTV Movie Awards for Best Actor and Best Actors, and Best Picture. It won a lot of, like, special awards. Dynamic Duo. Best Action Movie of all time.
Ooh.
Best face technology.
Ooh.
Best long boat chase scene.
Oh, God, you know I love a long boat chase.
Best actors playing each other by switching faces. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're watching the amazing Nick Cage, John Travolta smash Face Off. Your face off. Do you have anything that you want to test out? I've been talking a lot. You talk.
I was talking quite a bit. I was just sharing that I have a gremlin right now, and a lot of like tech things are going wrong for me. I've dropped my laptop twice today.
Yeah, not tech things going wrong like your computer's shorting out or like your battery didn't charge.
Yeah,
no, it's like physically you're destroying the electronics.
I am the gremlin.
Yeah.